The secret of a good sermon is to have a good beginning and a good ending, then having the two as close together as possible. George Burns.
A good sermon also is like a woman's skirt. Short enough to arouse interest, but long enough to cover the essentials. Ronald Knox.
Laughter shatters thought, overtakes a space, and engulfs it with a completely different magnetism. It shakes off an attitude and insists a conversation that penetrates and connects what language can only describe within the limits of language. Laughter brings a more beautiful light from our face. We become a laughing sun. We're not talking about the laughter that is at someone else's expense. We're speaking of the exuberance that touches inside and out and is beyond opinion and heedless of comparison. Laughter is breath that travels through the air and reaches others without physical contact. It relieves emotional constipation without causing pain. It invites participation, unfolding felicity to defamiliarize us for a moment from webs of necessarily useless burdens to which we give significance. How fabulous it is to laugh with the abandon of a child to the point of tears. It's a positive punctuation, no matter how silly. It's a superb experience of lightness and intensity, and much like inspiration, it takes a hold of you and transports you. For Sufis, the station of laughter is sparks from a smokeless fire that dissolves arrogance and brings one to a moment where affection is increased and one is happy. Sufi mystics delighted their readers through humor. Their funny stories communified people with humorous craziness that carefully corrected harmless eccentricities. Hafid explains the lived experience of Sufi humor, and he and I will hopefully leave you with a few pleasantries and subtleties that will tickle your bones.
Humor is another means by which the Sufi tradition awakens us to the spiritual world. It is very subtle humor that underlines the detours taken by the obstinate soul on its way to greater destiny. The seeker takes an honest look at his situation and laughs at his shortcomings. This subtle humor brings him or her to consider in a lighter fashion the knotted situation brought about by his alter ego. Because he or she understands that the alter ego is none other than himself. It is not cynical and teasing, but it's used to help the soul rise to the higher spheres of divine presence, seen from his perspective. It's a serious matter. For instance, I was thrown out of college for cheating on the metaphysics exam because I looked into the soul of the boy sitting next to me, Woody Allen. Nasruddin went to a bank to cash a check. "Can you identify yourself?" asked the clerk. Nasruddin took out a mirror, looked into it, said, "Yeah, that's all right. That's definitely me."
A thief who specialized in stealing shoes followed Nasruddin one day. The mullah went into the mosque, sat down, and started his prayers. Contrary to custom, he kept his shoes on. The thief, who sat down behind him, was unable to resist intoning audibly, "A prayer said with shoes on does not abide." "No," muttered Nasruddin over his shoulder, "but if the shoes abide, that's at least something." Humor, like a magic wand, makes the disagreeable toothless disappear briefly. So when we catch our breath, the sense of humor, that breath of humor, makes us consciously way less briefly, but then makes brighter the way to manage everyday tasks. Thank you for tuning in. Please give us your feedback. We wish to know every one of you. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Our next series on Ancient Wisdom, New Visions is the 7 Stations of Ego in Sufi tradition. Nasruddin was in a patent office trying to patent a magic wand. "I'm sorry," said the clerk, "we don't patent impossible inventions." So Nasruddin waved his magic wand, and the clerk disappeared. Stay Stay connected.
We